Well, this has certainly been a long time coming. DirtyBomb has cut the tape on being a fully launched product, shedding the beta tag that, it could be argued, hung around its neck albatross-like for all too long. I first made a video about DB on March 11th, 2015, and a further 40-ish videos later we finally have something to call done. Looking back at those old videos now, we can see how much has changed and also what hasn't changed in that time. Seeing Dome still in blockout for its first iteration really shows how long ago this was, and what a journey that map alone was going to embark on. I owe DirtyBomb a lot. I remember coming from PlanetSide 2, a game I loved, but I basically burnt myself out on. I saw a lot of names from that community jump to DB as an alternative. It seemed odd to me at the time that the games were so different and yet the same type of player found both to be enjoyable. In fact, I think it was the relative age of some of the players from PlanetSide 2. Those people perhaps played enemy territory before, they knew the name Splash Damage and were keen to know what this spiritual successor to that now hallowed title actually played like. I got a beta key, yes it wasn't always free access, and emailed the then community manager Miss Murder about whether it was okay to make YouTube videos about it. In fact, thinking back, I still talk to many of those people I came to meet online on a daily basis now. We still enjoy games together and generally have a chance to complain about newer titles and how things were so much better in the rose-tinted olden golden days of PC gaming. Some of you might know, but I actually co-casted some tournaments for DB Nation a while back too, though co-casted is overstating it somewhat. I always enjoyed doing that when Jahar was the main commentator. His level of presentation and production is just superb. I'm sure some of you have seen him on the QuakeCon tournament streams as well. I tended to be more of a colour commentator rather than a shot caller. My brain doesn't really work fast enough for that. The actual release of 1.0 was almost a sort of relief to have finally made it to a finish line. For me though, the actual patch seemed low on content in comparison to things we've seen from previous events in the game. The 1.0 patch basically amounted to Faceit integration, NVIDIA Shadowplay highlights, execution enabled on community servers, an Aura Obsidian to buy, some login rewards, and general balance update, and, well, I guess Steam trading as well, though when we've been waiting so long for that to be actually enabled, that seems like pushing it to have it on that list. What would have been a nice addition was an event like we've seen before, some short-term currency to grind for, some trinkets, loadouts to buy with that currency, a reason and motivation for long-standing players to jump into the servers for the next month or so. Perhaps even some of those community goals we saw in that previous holiday event, where we unlock prizes the more the community played. I didn't see much marketing either for the game. If you did spot some adverts for DB, then please mention them in the comments below. Because I basically spotted only a handful. I saw a video on NVIDIA's GeForce YouTube channel talking about Shadowplay highlights. I saw 2 adverts on Steam, that was the news pop-up on launch and the banner above the free-to-play section, but that's all I'm aware of. For a game so touted for its competitive play and with Faceit integration recently added, could there have not been some sort of official tournament for launch? Surely £1,000, which is a drop in the ocean for any sort of marketing budget, could have been found for prize money. Maybe NVIDIA would even have given away some GPUs for additional prizes. I'm not undermining the work that went into Faceit integration for DB, or getting Shadowplay highlights set up, but that work isn't the same as event content for all players to become active and excited in. I was going to talk about Faceit's point situation as well, but Shu recently posted on Reddit that things will be changing, so there's some hope yet. I'll link to that thread in the description as well. I'm not going to lie, I was never a big ranked player anyway, so I looked on Faceit as nice for people who like that intense try-hard experience. The point system seemed interesting if somewhat restrictive. If that will change, then good. I'd not like to see those Faceit weapon skins only available to a select few players. The Faceit system is a welcome addition to DB. It's a worldwide brand for esports and adds another string to DB's bow. It does need a sort of critical mass of people playing though, just like the old ranked mode. So the recent teething problems, especially during this critical period during the 1.0 launch, they come at a particularly bad time. I'm not sure if those FACEIT problems are linked to the overall server problems that many people on Reddit are reporting or not, but of all the times I'd not want new players to be subjected to instability and bad loading experiences, it would be at this exact moment when DB is trying to have some sort of moment in the sun. I'd like to hear from ST if there are ways for us to perhaps even drive some of these events. Could we create textures for the meshes to generate loadout cards? Could community artists create trinkets for inclusion in the game? It would have to be all submitted to ST, of course, but if development time is focused on things like shadow play and FACEIT integration, then perhaps some sort of community event for and by players might be some way to bridge that sort of gap. We all love the game, yes, even the developers. Even after you take some time away from it, when returning to DB, you get some of that magic when you first played. The movement, the combat, the way the characters sound, it's just so well done. And there's really no other title around that mixes those ingredients in such a compelling way. For what it's worth, I hope 1.0 does well, and looking back, it's just another notch on the belt for the patches for DB. There's a reason why people are still playing after 3, 4, even 5 years. There's something special about DirtyBomb. If you have any intense thoughts about 1.0 or simply want to tell me that my aim is terrible, just type out your brain to the comment section below right now. I read every one of them. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting that thumb up, tapping subscribe and ringing that bell icon. That way you know when the next video is ready for you. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Take care.